Fanta was actually in the news this week for some spectacular reasons.
Coca-Cola has pulled its latest ad for Fanta in Germany over an unintended reference to Nazi Germany.
Okay. If you work in advertising, before you hit the button on any campaign, someone has to say, just to be clear, we all check this thing for Nazi references, right? We do not want another Michael Jordan with the Hitler moustache issue, OK? We don't want that to happen again. Apparently, Coca-Cola made the mistake of deciding to celebrate Fanta's 75th anniversary by reminding people of how it was invented.
In the video, Coca-Cola explains how its German plant was having difficulty getting the syrup needed to make Coke in the 40s, so bottlers were forced to make their own sodas, including Fanta. The problem? The reason the plants had a hard time getting the syrup was of World War II and trade embargoes against Nazi Germany.
Yes. Fanta was invented in Nazi Germany. And if you didn't know that before, I'm willing to bet it's the only thing you're going to associate Fanta with from now on. Look, it's a pretty good rule that any companies with historic ties to the Nazis should generally avoid nostalgia. There's a reason that Volkswagen emphasises things like the Passat winning Car of the Year rather than, say, the honours it won back in the 1940s. Herbie, how could you? You've truly gone bananas. I will say this, Fanta. Good luck trying to get people to forget your connection to Nazi Germany again, because I do not think it can be done.
We at Fanta are well aware we've had some messaging problems recently. So we just want to remind you what Fanta is really all about. It's the cool, crisp, carbonated drink that marches across your taste buds like... wait, hold on. Not marches. Fizzes across your taste buds. If you're on the beach on a hot summer day, think of Fanta as a corridor to the sea. Wait, no, not that. Just focus on the great taste of Fanta. It'll annex your thirst, not annex. Quench? Is quench okay? Yeah, quench is fine. We just want to make sure when you think about Fanta, you don't automatically think about Nazis. Fanta. Nazis. Shit.
I really don't think I have to explain how seriously bad the Holocaust was. I don't think that needs explained to any of us who've all studied history. 6 million Jews were killed in that, and they were the main target. 11 million lives lost total over that entire period when Hitler and the Nazi regime were in power. That doesn't need to be explaining. Or then again, maybe it does. Maybe Coca-Cola does need a history lesson. And the fact that the good old times, the times they referenced 75 years ago, that actually wasn't good. It was actually weren't a time good for anybody. Even if you did come up with one of your brands of products that still survive to this day and still thrive. Like, yeah, maybe it's good for you business-wise, but is that really good for your public? Is that really good for the customers you're trying to reach out to? This, they stumbled upon a drink simply because they couldn't get the products necessary for Coca-Cola. It was a trade embargo that, restricted a lot of flow of access to products into Germany. So they really couldn't make Coca-Cola. But, stumble upon the Fanta, good old times. Oh, yeah, sure, Hitler and the Nazis. I guess that's good, What Coca-Cola has to realize is that this mistake is going to honestly affect them for years to come. They're going to be apologizing for this, not just now, but every time somebody references the anniversary of Fanta, people are going to be like, oh yeah, when Coca-Cola said that Nazi regime was good back then, like that's what people are going to be thinking about. And Coca-Cola is never going to let this down. It's not hard to just realize that 75 years ago was a completely horrible mistake.
So many people who were victims of the Nazi regime may be offended by this campaign made by Coca-Cola, especially since their grandparents and other family members were beaten, frozen, and killed in work camps. Other people who may be affected by this are war veterans, since they didn't make note that the war was prevalent during the time. Germans may also be offended by this campaign due to the fact that now their country is very open and welcoming to all races and ethnicities. Also, people may view Coca-Cola's CEO as a Nazi sympathizer, when in reality it may not be the case, but due to the fact that he used the words that he used in his campaign and how he campaigned the ad for Coca-Cola, he may seem as though he's a Nazi supporter.
part of you know, Coca-Cola apologizing for what they did was just that. All they did was apologize. Like, you insulted millions of people by referencing World War II as the good old times, and all you did was, you know, say sorry. That's pretty much all they did. That clearly is not like, you know, a sufficient enough apology to reference exactly what they did. So what they tried to do is they then tried to do reach out in a digital way, and they started up a campaign using the hashtag Make It Happy. And what they encourage people to do is they encourage them to like post a word, like a saying or a phrase or anything like that, and they would take it and they would you know, make pictures out of it, and they would like do art out of it, and they encourage them to do that using the hashtag Make It Happy. Well, you know, they're thinking, you know, this couldn't, you know, there's no way this could go wrong. This, you know, has to, you know, equal out to what we just did, except for the part where they unknowingly took somebody's post and made it a picture, and what it was part of Hitler's Mein Kampf. So this is the second time that they have had a run-in with, you know, World War II and the Nazi Party, and they didn't even realize what they did. And you know, so they posted this, and then people are once again outraged, as they should be. Like, this is Coca-Cola dropping the ball for a second time. And this isn't like Coca-Cola's the only company who's ever had a PR fail like this, but for the second time to happen with reference to the Nazi Party really starts to make you wonder, like, who is in their PR like department, and who is supposed to be, you know, going over this stuff before it's released to the public that clearly isn't doing that. And, you know, would they do again, like, instead of, like, you know, trying to make up for it in some, you know, huge way? Well, not, they just, their response was, what's the worst that could happen? Like, you know, what could happen if we possibly did this? Well, what happened was, you know, just that. Like, somebody posted it out on there and thinking that you weren't gonna run with this, and they did this through Twitter, like, and that's only becoming more popular as a user media, social media website. Like, it's only becoming more popular. So Twitter thought they were doing good, and they weren't.